Good morning, everyone. I'm speaking to you today on one of the great feast days of the Church's year, because every year, before we begin the holy season of Advent in preparation for Christmas, the Church appoints this last Sunday as the feast day of Christ the King. Now, although it's a great feast day, it's not a particularly ancient one. It's, in fact, of 20th century origin. Pope Pius XI gave us this feast day. He reigned in a strange time in the history of the world, between the two world wars. And in his lifetime, the communist regimes were being established in Russia. In his lifetime, great dictatorships were springing up across Europe. It was really in many ways a dreadful time. And Pope Pius XI, I think, by instituting this feast of Christ the King, wanted to proclaim to the world that over and above every human power, there is a power in heaven, a power which is unassailable and which has the final say. The power of Christ, who is King of the universe, King of everything. Now, although that's a new feast day that the Pope gave us, it's obviously a very old truth. We know that Jesus Christ proclaimed himself to be a king during his passion. But what kind of a king is Jesus Christ? In many ways, he's not like the kings of this world at all. He is, in fact, a king like his ancestor King David, who was a shepherd tending his father's sheep on the hills of Bethlehem when he was called from that task to rule over the people of Israel and anointed by Samuel as king. To be a king after the model of King David is to be a person who feeds his sheep. It's to be a person who protects the sheep entrusted to his care. In fact, I suppose what Pope Pius XI was proclaiming to the world that was in love with power was the power of love. He was proclaiming that over and above all exercise of brute force, there is this wonderful power of love at the heart of the universe, and that's made visible to us in Jesus Christ, its King. Now, in every age, you know, love has to fight against hatred. God has to fight against the devil. In every age, good has to fight against evil, and our age is no different to the time that Pope Pius XI lived in. In one way, it is different. In our age, evil doesn't wear fancy uniforms and strut around making ludicrous gestures. It doesn't raise its voice and shriek and shout like the dictators of the 1920s and 30s did. But evil is always there. Both the evil that men do, which we are all too aware of in our time, as has always been the case, but also even seemingly natural evils like this curse of COVID-19 that we have at the moment. They're all evils. And in every age, we need to remind ourselves that those evils do not have the final say, that over and above all of them, there is the power of love. There is the power of Christ the King. And today's feast reminds us of that, doesn't it? That over all, Christ is King of the universe. Over every evil, Christ has the final power. And in the end, good will always triumph. Thank you very much, and God bless you, and a very happy feast day to you. Bye-bye.